Hello again, and welcome back to another FFXIV video with me, SF Lady Wolf. Here today, we're going to do a special set of quests that came in with the Rising event for the year. This one is a little bit higher level than the holiday itself. You will have to have done some stuff in the game. So, this one is about the Archon Louis, which if you know anything about the game, you know who he is. If not, if you watch the trailer, then the Elezen man, the elf looking man, up on the ridge, when Bahamut shows up in the trailer, that holds up his staff and puts up a shield to block off Bahamut's power for a minute, save everybody for a minute, is Louis. He is the grandfather of a couple of the characters, Alphino and Alice Lavilleur. And he's a good guy, as far as we know. But this quest line is about him. So, if you've done the stuff that tells about him, level 50, you'll know a little bit more. If you've played through the game some, you already know who he is, what kind of stuff he did, what he did. But if not, when he does that fight with Bahamut, he basically casts a giant spell that costs him his life. He sacrifices himself in order to cast a rebirth spell that basically shuts down Bahamut and recreates the world so that everyone can go on. It's just, it ends up being 5 years later, after Bahamut attacked at the Cartano fight, that it comes up. That's when you start the game. And everyone has lost their memory about the adventurers who helped in the battle. If you see the trailer, you go back and watch it. That's the bard, the warrior, the paladin, the black mage, and the white mage that are there. The Rogadin, the Hyur. I'm not sure what the black mage is. I think he's an Elezen maybe. But the white mage is Alala, and the bard is a Makote, cat person. And they are the warriors of light, because everyone's memory when they try to think back to that day is just a field of white light with their shadows, and they can't remember their names or anything like that. And I've come to find out that it was because of the spell that Louis cast that sacrificed him, that erased everyone's memories of them and saved the world. All anyone knows is the heroes helped, and Bahamut was beaten, and the world went on. And it's been 5 years since that happened. So that's all we know. Now, exactly what went on in the spell, exactly what kind of spell it was, I don't know. We haven't been told, or at least not that I have seen personally. So now we have someone who is going to touch on Louis for some reason that is unlocked this time. So we are going to have Artemis say hello, because that's our usual friend we play with. I am SF Lady Wolf. Do feel free to give a like to my videos if you find them interesting or helpful. And if you have not done this quest yet, then it is spoilers. Believe it. And it is a limited time thing. As far as I know, I forget for sure if this is the one that's going to stay or not. But I'll say in a sec. I'll get reminded in a second when I go into it. But I'm not sure if this one is limited time or not. It may just be here for the event. It may not. I forget. I know the mini game for the Kupo Kupo adventure is permanent. But I forget if this one was or not. I do not remember off the top of my head. My mind could be playing tricks on me today. I've done so much. But let's get to it. We have Nananji here in Ul'dah. For the placement, we are right outside the Hall of Flames. The main Aetheryte right now as we stand is over on our right. And when you come out, you would actually turn to your right and Nananji's right there. If you're already here, like over at the vendor for the Rising event or such, come back to your left from that and go past the Aetheryte. And right here on your right would be Nananji, who is one we're going to be dealing with today. So let's turn around here. And let's talk to Nananji and see what's going on. We have a quest called Remembering the Past. It is a level 50 quest, so you do have to go a decent amount of the way through the game. Because you have to know what happened in the calamity and all that. So, from this reward, we will get 12,675 XP, which is pretty good. And we will get 770 gil. Not bad. It is quest sync, so it will sync to your level if you had to fight something. And Nananji appears to be in deep thought. Let's see what's going on here. It doesn't say it's a limited time quest, so maybe this is the one that was going to stick around afterward. We'll see. Nananji, the determined set of your jaw, the dynamic presence, as if you're ever ready to leap into action. There's no mistake, you're an adventurer, and a dependable one at that. Tell me, are you familiar with the name Louis Leveleur? Yeah, of course I am. Of course you are, of course you are. Forgive me my suddenness. I'm Nananji, a budding writer, and I seek to pen a biography of the great man. In particular, I wish to cover his movements leading up to the calamity, and to that end, I've requested an interview with the Immortal Flames. He served the Eorzean Alliance as a tactician, you see, so there ought to be someone in the Order who had dealings with him. And while my request has thankfully been accepted, there's just one problem. I don't have much experience conducting interviews, and I'm worried whether I'll be able to do a proper job. As an adventurer, you're doubtless used to dealing with people. Thus, I would like to ask you to accompany me in the capacity of an assistant. It would be tremendously reassuring to simply have you watching on. And if you're amenable, afterwards, I'd like to interview you as well for your own impressions. For your troubles, I'll be certain to credit you as a collaborator. So please, won't you help me with my biography, and the memories of the calamity might be preserved for future generations? Sure thing. I'm in your debt. To begin with, please come with me to Camp Drybone in eastern Thanalan. There's a place I'd like to visit ahead of the interview. Okay. So remembering the past, speak with Nananji at Camp Drybone. So we are going to hop right here to our travel, hit teleport. We are already sitting on the Thanalan section, so we will just go down here and find Camp Drybone. And we will click on it, and we will teleport. Of course, some people may have an extra screen come up there, an extra little box, because you do have things called Aetheryte tickets that will let you teleport for free. Otherwise, you have to pay gil to teleport, which, as you see here, you spent 280 gil. So that's how much I had to pay to teleport from where I was standing in Ul'dah to where I'm standing right here in Camp Drybone. So we are going to look around here. Is he right here? Yes, he is. He's right here behind us, in fact. And yes, I would be getting soaked because it is coming a downpour over here in Camp Drybone. So this old Lala here with the umbrella's got a good idea. So let's talk to Nanji here. He's busy writing something down. There you are. To explain why we're here. Oh, but I haven't even asked your name. How am I supposed to credit you if I don't even know that much? I'm Artemis. Artemis Starsong? The Artemis Starsong? Champion of Eorzea? Small wonder I felt you were dependable. With one such as you helping me, everything will surely go well. But getting back to business, the interview I've arranged is with an officer of the Immortal Flames. As there's still time, however, I thought we'd pay a visit to the nearby graveyard first, so I can explain my motivation for the biography. Okay, black screen. I guess we're going to get teleported for this. Sorry, my sleeves kind of feel a little weird. I come from a small village near the Cartano Flats. It was burned down in a calamity, and those who died were laid to rest here, my parents among them. Ah, he lost his parents in the calamity. It's hardly an uncommon tale. After the dread primal emerged from Dalamud, he unleashed fiery devastation across the length and breadth of Eorzea. But as much as the calamity has scarred the realm, it is quickly becoming just another event in the history books. Beyond occasionally giving thanks to the Archons that Eorzea was saved, people spare it little thought. But when you've lost so many loved ones, it's hard to feel that anything was saved. That's why I wish to know more about Louisoix. By learning about his part in Eorzea's salvation, I hope that I will attain closure. That's my motivation for writing the biography. A decent motivation. Now then, in preparation for the interview, let's review what is known about our subject. It's difficult to define exactly when the seventh Umbral Calamity was set in motion. Many historians, however, point to the Empire's Meteor Project, which sought to bring Dalamud down upon Eorzea. It was the year 1562 of the 6th Astral Era. Seeking to combat the Imperial threat, Louisoix founded the Circle of Knowing, an order whose objective was the preservation of Eorzea. And here we see posters, one for Ul'dah for the Immortal Flames, one for Gridania with the Twin Serpents, one for Limsa Lamensa. Cool. With the Maelstrom. Very nice. I like the art. It's very nice. Very classy. Through its members, the Archons of Sharlayan Circle worked to unite the nations of Eorzea in common cause. The result was the formation of the Grand Company in the 3 city-states, the Immortal Flames, the Order of the Twin Adder, and the Maelstrom. None of these would exist now were it not for their efforts. And then, in the year 1572, when the situation was coming to a head, Louisoix himself made the journey to Eorzea in secret and engaged with each of the nations. What took place during that time is what I seek to learn in the interview. Hmm. The man we're due to meet is the contact for the Free Brigade, a unit formed of adventurers, and he apparently had Louis Soir's assistance for a mission. The meeting place is Highbridge, to the northeast. It's more or less time now, so let's make our way there. Okay, lead the way. Just to be silly, I'm going to turn into the Phoenix and fly over there. If you saw the actual quest for the Rising event, you know that's where this mount comes from. And it's not just a mount, you transform into it. So you are the Phoenix. And to this game, the players really are the Phoenix. Because the players that stick around and come around are what keep the game going. So we're over here because I see our little sparkle here. Because sometimes you'll see little green sparkles like this, and that's where you need to be. As well, and it will also say destination above it. And here's Nananji, so that's another way you know. And sometimes you will see several people around, so you know where there's a bunch of people. More than likely, that's where you need to be. So we will go over here and we will click our destination. You just wait for a second while Nananji finishes what he's doing, or it could look like he was writing something. And then it just comes into a cutscene usually, and you go on with whatever you're doing. We have a flame officer come up. You're the ones who seek an interview? I must say, I wasn't expecting to see the champion of Eorzea. I'm Nananji Nonanji, the writer who made the request, and Artemis is kindly accompanying me for the interview. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to humor me. Come now, no need for thanks. Like everyone, I hold Louis Soir in the highest esteem. If you wish to know about him, Holland Aubrey is always glad to oblige. Apparently that's his name. Hey! And one thing I will say here is, if you are in the Grand Company that they are, you will do the salute that you would do as them. And they will mention you as your rank and everything. Now with her, I am Gridania, so I am not Ul'dah, so I'm not Immortal Flames. I am Twin Adder. So he does his salute and I just wave. So, but I did see that on my main character that I was from Gridania or Ul'dah, and they did the salute that they were supposed to do, and mention my rank and everything. Oh, it's Sergeant so and so or Lieutenant so and so or whatever. So, just a little tip to enjoy while you're doing this, because they do think about little stuff like that. Without further ado, then, let us begin. My understanding is you had dealings with Louis Soir. Could you please tell me the details? As you know, our grand companies were formed thanks to the Circle of Knowing. But it wasn't till Dalamud began turning red that Louis Soir first appeared. Alright, I guess we'll get a memory here. Usually when they zoom out like that and pause, it's going to go into a cutscene. And yes, it does. A cutscene within a cutscene. It began with the word that an elderly Elysian man had come to Gridania, who held the key to vanquishing primals. Upon learning of this, I sent an adventurer of the Free Brigade to make contact with him. I later learned that the Maelstrom and the Order of the Twin Adder had done the very same. At that time, our companies weren't yet collaborating. Each one only thought to stay ahead of the others. If truth be told, at first, we didn't think much of Louisoix, only that he was the leader of scholars who studied peculiar prophecies. But when the adventurer reported back, our opinion of the man completely changed. With his spellcraft, Louisoix had opened the way into Ifrit's domain, and by the hand of dauntless adventurers, the Lord of the Inferno was brought low. Alas, many defeats preceded that victory. It was reported that countless charred corpses lay strewn in the bowl of embers. Now, the mission also yielded a shocking revelation. What's that? Following the battle, Legatus Nell Van Darnus of the 7th Imperial Legion appeared and told the adventurer that the hour of reckoning was at hand, that Dalamud would soon fall and cleanse the land. That was when we realized that the Empire was behind the Red Moon's anomaly. So thanks to Louisoix, you came to be aware of the meteor project. Still, it doesn't seem like you had much to act upon. As you say, afterwards we scrambled to learn all we could about the project. For a blessing, we had the cooperation of a Garlean defector, Sid Garland, whom you know well. He revealed the details of the project, that it utilized a transmission tower to pluck Dalamud from the heavens, all for the purpose of purging us savages from the realm. I could continue telling you what I know, but from this point on, there is someone better suited than I. If you are interested, I would be glad to introduce you to this individual. What say you? Well now, we'd be keen to speak with this person indeed. Very well. I will send word to the Adder's Nest. If you could take yourselves to Apkalu Falls, I will arrange for a meeting there. To go to such lengths to help us, I can't say how grateful I am. Do not mention it. As I said, I hold Louisoix in the highest esteem. He was the one who brought our 3 nations together, and nothing would please me more than for him to be remembered. Well, it's past time I return to Ul'dah. I pray that the coming interview bears you fruit. Thank you. The lieutenant certainly has great respect for Louisoix. And thanks to him, we have another promising interview. Come, let's head to Gridania, where the Archon has sojourned. Yeah, please, I'm getting kind of soaked out here. You know, wet rabbit ain't no fun either. Alright, so we have to go back to Gridania. And since my home is Gridania, I'm just going to hit return and teleport back. Return is your home teleport. You can set it to whatever place you want. If you somehow get killed out in the world, you'll return there. If you want, if you can't get a resurrection done. And since I started out in Gridania, I have my home set to it. We're going to go here, and it says Kalu Falls. We have Old Gridania lit up on the map, so let's go over there. There's our marker, remembering the past. So we want to go to Minketo's Amphitheater. Or Lancer's Guild, whichever. It looks like it's about in the middle. So I'm going to go to Minketo's Amphitheater. I kind of like going there. So you'll click it once to select it, and then click it again to actually teleport. That way you don't accidentally teleport to the wrong place. Now in town it is free to teleport, so you don't need to worry about that. And let me hit my sprint here, just to make myself move a little faster, because you cannot mount in town. Thank goodness. So that way you can't have people being rude and parking mounts on top of vendors or something like that. Now on the world is a different story. But most of the time people are pretty nice in the game. And as soon as you talk to someone, you do get dismounted. So it's a little hard to do. We have Nananji right here. So this is Kalu Falls. The conspicuous lack of the creatures aside, it's quite a beautiful place. Now then, the person we're to meet should be along shortly. Kalu in here are birds, kind of like penguins. That's why he happened to mention that. And here's someone. We have Serpent Lieutenant Folk. I was told there were those who wished to learn about Louis Soir, and who should one of them be but Sergeant Starsong? Well met. I am Lieutenant Cyril Folk of the Order of the Twin Adder. Nice to meet you. See? Serpent salute. Because I am a Twin Adder. So, apparently, as it should be, they give you the salute and they call you by your rank. Nananji, at your service. Thank you for sparing the time to speak with us. Think nothing of it. I must say, though, that Lieutenant Aubrey chose the perfect spot for the subject matter. How so? Louis Soir spent much time in rumination here in the days before the calamity. We Gridanians being somewhat reserved by nature, at first the citizens kept their distance. It is pretty, that's for sure. But in time, people warmed to him. He patiently lent an ear to their troubles, healing hurts and offering counsel, and gradually earned their trust. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. Louis Soir spoke those words and lived up to them. He was the epitome of a Charlian sage, and I recall myself being moved. Now, shortly after we had become aware of the Meteor Project, the hamlet of Quarry Mill was attacked by the Primal Garuda. Both soldiers and civilians were among the casualties. Okay, now one thing here. In the original version of the game, you have things called hamlets and camps, stuff like that. You did not have these little outposts. Like Blackbrush Station was Camp Blackbrush at the time. And as you see here, Hamlet of Quarry Mill. And it would be like Quarry Mill Hamlet or something like that in the old game. So they are kind of giving a throwback to that. Whereas it was just shortened to Quarry Mill when the game was redone. And in our Garuda, the Order of the Twin Adder moved to vanquish the Primal, but we were not alone. Through Louis Soir's mediation, we had the support of not only our sister grand companies, but capable adventurers the realm over besides. Using an artifact known as the Vortex Feather, the Archon opened the way for a band of adventurers to sally forth into Garuda's turbulent domain, where they failed the fearsome being. Upon her defeat, however, the Primal's dispersed aether did not return to the land. Instead, it was absorbed into the red moon Dalamud. And when the Empire constructed a new base in Mordona, the Elder Seedseer saw the need for decisive action and put forth a proposal: the formal reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, which had for so long lain dormant. The initial response from the other nations was lukewarm at best. They felt that the burden to be borne by each party was excessive, and they were loath to do aught that would place them at a disadvantage against their rivals. But the revelation that a lunar transmitter had been erected in the Imperial base prompted a change of heart. The tower controlled Dalamud's descent. If it could be destroyed, then the meteor project would be forestalled. After having constantly been on the back foot, our nations were motivated to join hands, that we might strike a decisive blow against the enemy. Thus was the Eorzean Alliance reformed, as the Circle of Knowing had hoped. At the same juncture, Louisoix had asked to join the Alliance as a tactician, and in that capacity he provided sage counsel to our heads of state. So, although he was at first treated with wariness, Louisoix earned our trust through his actions, and paved the way to enduring cooperation between our nations. Indeed, were it not for him, we all would have perished divided. We owe Louisoix a great debt. Now then, I expect you might be interested in hearing about the operation to destroy the lunar transmitter. But for that tale, I would recommend you seek out another, a decorated soldier who actually took part in the operation. Although a hardened warrior, she is quite friendly and should be glad to regale you with her experiences. Shall I send her word on your behalf? We'd be duly grateful. Very well. If you could take yourselves to Maelstrom Command in Limsa Lamensa, I shall see to it that she knows to expect you. With that, I shall take my leave. I pray the biography is a success. And I get tongue-tied for a second. Everyone has been more helpful than I had dared to hope. It seems Louisoix had quite an influence on others. Who knew? That interview gave us some valuable insights into his character, and I'm eager to see what we learn in the next. Come, let's head to Limsa Lamensa. Alright, remember in the past, speak with a Nanji near Maelstrom Command. Now, so we want to teleport over here to Lenoska. Let's go to Limsa Laminsa Lower Docks. I do not have any Aetheryte tickets at this point, so yeah, I have to pay the guild for everything. And when we get to Limsa, I know where we're going because I've been there before. We want to come up here, select Aetheryte, and we want the Aft Castle. Again, it will select it, and then we actually click it to officially teleport. Ah! And there's Nananji right beside us. So we don't have to look too far. Let's see what Nananji's up to. Ah, there it is. Maelstrom Command. Shall we then? Rashat Riki. Artemis, ever a sight for sore eyes. And you must be Nananji. Rashat Riki, at your service. I understand you wish to hear about the operation to destroy the lunar transmitter. Indeed, I'm penning a biography of the Archon Louis Sois, you see, for which I'm interviewing people who had dealings with him. I truly appreciate your time. You're very welcome. I would be glad to assist, even if it wasn't a request from Lieutenant Falk. Thank you muchly. And Maelstrom salute. Now then, to continue where he left off. It was shortly after the Eorzean Alliance was formed. Our scouts returned with word that the 7th Legion had activated the lunar transmitter in their fortress in Mordona. Now known as Castrum Sentry, the fortress was originally called Castrum Novum, before the 14th restored and renamed it. It was in order to break through its defenses and destroy the transmitter that our 3 nations joined hands, as we were determined to succeed. The strategy that Louis Sois proposed was elegant in its simplicity. While our main force drew the Garleans' attention with an all-out siege, an elite band of adventurers would infiltrate the castrum and make for our objective. We had entrusted adventurers with ridding us of the primals. Now we entrusted them with the very fate of Eorzea. I still remember the operation as if it were yesterday. Though we met with fierce resistance, we fought more fiercely still. No matter the cost, we had to ensure that the adventurers had a chance to strike at the transmitter. And when the messenger arrived, bearing word that they had succeeded, it still makes my heart sore to recall that moment of triumph. I bet. That day, we learned that by standing together, the people of Eorzea could oppose even the might of the Empire. 'Tis no exaggeration to say that victory paved the way for Eorzea's future. Without it, there would not have been an Operation Archon. Alas, it wasn't all glad tidings. For though we destroyed the transmitter, Neo Van Darnus appeared and claimed that he no longer needed the device to bring down Dalamud, that he himself had the power to do so. So long as Van Darnus lived, threat of destruction remained. And so, branding him an enemy to all life in Eorzea, the nations of the Alliance undertook a desperate manhunt. At length they located him in Kurthus, and sent their greatest warriors to hunt him down. Leading that formidable band was the adventurer whom they called the Warrior of Light. And though no records remain, of the fierce encounter, one thing is certain. At battle's conclusion, Nell Van Darnus was brought low. As you know, however, our woes did not end with the White Raven, for Louis Soix and his disciples determined that Dalamud would continue to fall. In a last-ditch bid to prevent the realm's annihilation, the Circle of Knowing issued a request to the Eorzean Alliance to secure the Cartano Flats, where the Red Moon was expected to crash. It was no simple task, for the entirety of the 7th Legion had amassed in Cartano, but it was necessary in order to perform a ritual to stop Dalamud, a ritual that invoked the power of the 12. So it was that the Battle of Cartano was joined, and I dare say you know how the tale continues. To everyone's shock, the Elder Primal Bahamut emerged from Dalamud and proceeded to unleash his fury upon the realm. Aye, and though all bore witness as Louis Soix initiated the ritual, none remember what came to pass afterwards. Neither what happened to Bahamut, nor why the realm was reborn. The haze that afflicted memories of the calamity. But people remember events prior to that moment, yes? If so, do you know if anyone was near Louis Soix during the battle? Someone who may have spoken with him? If someone was near him, I'm afraid I do not know. He was atop a rise for the ritual, while I was a good distance away on the front lines. My apologies. No, please, don't apologize. You've shared a wealth of information, and I couldn't ask for more. Well, if you're satisfied, then so am I. With that, I shall return to my duties. I look forward to reading the biography when it's finished. Later, Ricky! Okay. Now let's talk to Nananji here. Now, I have a grasp of events leading up to the calamity, and yet... I do apologize, my sinuses are going crazy today. Oh, forgive me. I was deep in thought. In no small part due to your help, I've managed to learn a great deal. But there is still more that I wish to know. Might I trouble you to accompany me a while longer? If you're willing, please let me know. And we finished that particular quest, but there's got to be more because they want us to go on with them. And we get 12,675 experience and 770 gil. Let's complete that. And indeed, we do have another quest from the Nanji. This one again is level 50. It's called Preserving the Future. This one will give us 12,675 experience again. Only this one gives 827 gil. And we get End of an Era Framer's Kit. Tools for enhancing a portrait. Used to unlock embellishments fit for an inheritor of Louis Soix's legacy. Includes portrait elements, background, and frame. Includes plate elements, base plate, backing, portrait frame, plate frame, and accent. And because I'm just now doing this, I do not have it learned, so it says it is unobtained. You cannot get it from a shop. It's unsellable, and it's also market prohibited. You can't take it and put it on the market board and try to get gil for it. So, you will have to get it and learn it from this quest. Or just destroy it if you don't want it. Nananji desires more information for Louis Soix's biography. Let's accept the quest. Nananji, you'll continue accompanying me then? Wonderful. Now, let's head to the Johnny Winch to discuss our next move. Okay, we're going to have a drink. Talk it over. Let's see. Maybe to help us think. I automatically get teleported. I don't have to walk over there. Our research proceeds apace so far. We've even learned things not found in literature. But tell me, based on what you've heard from our interviewees, what is your opinion of Louis Soir? What will you say? He's an exceptional leader. He had a difficult task, or others deserve more credit. Yeah, I mean, everybody that was there deserves some amount of credit. And yeah, he had a very difficult task because he had 3 nations to try to get them to put away their bickering and try to work together to take care of this common enemy, basically. And that's pretty hard to do. I mean, look at the world today. We can't even agree in our own country about stuff, much less completely come together with 3 or 4 other countries against a common enemy, unless it's just so bad that they're in danger too, and it's better off for everybody. And then it takes moving heaven and earth, basically, to get it done. Or, he's an exceptional leader. He pulled it off. He did what, would be hard to do in today's real world. Not that it's not written for him to do that, but at the same time, if this really was your world, that would be a monumental achievement. To get these 3 leaders that are so hell-bent on not getting behind the others that they're willing to just forsake everything and keep going down their road, come hell or high water, then that's an accomplishment. An outsider walking in saying, here's what you need to do if you want to survive. Here's what needs to happen. I'm going to lay out the paperwork. I'm going to lay out the roadmap. You can follow it or not. And if you don't, whatever happens is on your heads. But if you listen to me, we might come through this in one piece. Maybe a little scathed, a little worse for wear, but we might actually make it to live another day. So I'm going to say he's an exceptional leader because he did a lot of magic there with getting all 3 of them to come together and making sure they understood why and what needed to be done, and if they listen to him, they can accomplish it. And then them, by proxy, sitting there telling their people, hey, we're going to listen to this guy. If he says something when he's on a mission, take it to heart. Understand that he knows what's going on. So he's going to be speaking basically for us if we're not standing there. So I'm going to say he's an exceptional leader. I agree. He possessed great leadership. In fact, if not, he couldn't have established the framework to realize his plans, no matter how brilliant they may have been. What struck me was how grateful the interviewees were to Louis Soir for bringing their nations together in cooperation. It was nothing short of necessary for our survival. Yet in knowing this, I can't help but wonder. In his capacity as a tactician, it seems to me he had done more than enough by devising a plan and facilitating its execution. He went far beyond that, risking life and limb on the front lines for a land not his own. Yeah, because he was from Charlian. That's another area. Yeah, in the game, to be a tiny bit of a spoiler, you do eventually go to old Charlian and you get to see the place. But, it's not the same. It's not, Eorzea was not his land. He was not from Ul'dah or Perthus or Bredania or Limsa. He was from someplace else. I was like somebody from Australia coming up and getting America, Japan, and Europe to work together. So, yeah. And they go out of their way to sacrifice themselves, try to save all 3 of those places and their land. So, yeah, he did something. He went far beyond that, risking life and limb on the front lines for a land not his own. Perhaps he needed to be there for the ritual. Perhaps he felt a sense of duty. Even so, as noble as it is to desire to help others, what good is it if you end up sacrificing yourself? What was it that compelled Louis Soir to go to Carteneau? And what went through his mind as the battle unfolded? In order to do his biography justice, I feel I need to know these things. Only one problem, he's dead. If Louis Soir had people near him at the time, perhaps he shared words with them in his final moments. Words that could provide some insights. But where to begin searching for such individuals, assuming they exist? Sorry, friends, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Just so happens I know a bloke has served him on Louis Soir's guard at Carteneau. Oh, really? Do tell, Baderon. Truly? You know someone who was with him? Aye. And far as I'm aware, he wasn't keeping the fact a secret. Just for good measure, though, why do you want to speak with him? He's writing Louis Soir's biography and he's trying to get it all right. Louis Soir's biography, eh? In that case, I reckon the bloke would be willing to cooperate. Arn Gwencombe's his name, and he was a lieutenant on Maelstrom. After the calamity, he turned adventuring so as to be a greater help to the common folk. A Maelstrom officer turned adventurer. We'd be most keen to speak with him. Where might he be found? When Orrin dropped in the other day, he said he had business at the Moraby dry docks. If you're lucky, he might be as he's still there. Understood. We're in your debt. Good old Baderon. The bartender always knows. We can't let this chance pass us by, Artemis. Let's take ourselves to the dry docks at once. Lead the way. Lead the way, small fry. Alright, we need to go to Moraby dry docks. Teleport. Moraby dry docks. I already have it on Limsa, so quick and easy to find. Teleport there. There it's Nanaji. Alright. Right. Where could Orrin be? In hindsight, we should have asked what he looks like. His name would suggest he's a Midlander. But, well, nothing for it but to make inquiries. Let's split up for the task and meet again here. Okay. So we gotta go ask on about him, so... I see a marker over here. I also have an orange circle. And we have a shopkeep. What's up? I'm sorry, but I've only just started helping out here. I'm still learning our customers' names. I couldn't say if it's the person you're after, but a man did come by earlier who appeared to be an adventurer. He bought a Nemea lily, and we're currently trialing. Okay. We have someone who bought a Nemea lily. Ooh, we got that orange circle. Looks like it's up this way. Yes. A veteran shipwright. Excuse me. You know this person? Looking for Arm Gwen coming, eh, you say? Don't know anyone by that name, I'm afraid. I did walk by an unfamiliar fellow just now, though, over on the mark of the spinner. He had a flower in his hand, so he caught my eye. Okay, well, thank you kindly. Still have that orange... Ah! So we still have the orange circle here, so it's got to be somebody else. And we're supposed to have 3 according to the quest, so... We have a rogue importer. Hey, you know Orn? Orn? As it happens, I spoke with him just earlier. He said that he wanted to buy flowers, so I directed him to a vendor. Not sure where he is as of now, though. You have an inkling as to where Orn might be. Time to rejoin Nananji. Yeah, it said something about the mark of the spinner, so... Ah, there's Nananji, speaking to someone else. There you are, Artemis. Were you able to learn anything? He got a lily from the vendor and supposedly was seen near the spinner's mark. So a man who could be Orm bought a Nymea lily, then went to the mark of the spinner. If we hurry there, we might be able to find him. Let's go. Thank you kindly for your help, mister. Or miss, I'm not sure which, sorry. Gonna get a good look at you. I'm going to mount up here. Again, I'm going to use my phoenix I got earlier, since it says Steel for the Rising. And we're going to follow a little marker and get over here. And you cannot fly here immediately. You have to be level 50 to fly in the old world. The original 1 to 50 areas. So, when you get level 50, you will get it as part of the story. So you'll be able to fly around when you come back to areas like this. We have a destination marker here. Let's check it out. I will have to come back over here as I see something else over here I need to do. Okay, there's the mark of the spinner. Right now it's just us. Huh? Here's somebody else. Oh my goodness. And if you've already done this, or you're just doing this, is it just me? I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know at least one other person thought this. But when you see this guy, doesn't he kind of look like Thangrid? Just a little bit older, maybe? Begging your pardon, sir, but are you Lieutenant Orn Gwyncombe? I mean, he looks a lot like Thancred's model in the face and all. I mean, that could just be a general look that they give NPCs that are higher, but still. He kind of looks like an older Thancred. And apparently he is who we're looking for. I haven't been a lieutenant for years, but that's me. What can I do for you? I realize this is sudden, but I'm trying to write a biography on Louis Swan. I kind of need your help to help finish it. Because I'm kind of got a void in here. So you're writing Louis Swan's biography and want to hear my account as someone who was near on hand at Cartana. Yeah, just a little bit. There must be a reason that you're here too. The warrior of light who led us to victory in Operation Archon. Very well, I will tell you my tale. Apparently I make an impression no matter where I go. Now then, where to begin? Deep thought. As you know, the battle was fought over the land where Dalamud was expected to fall. In the beginning, neither side was able to gain the upper hand. But when the Imperials deployed their Magitech armor, our ranks were thrown into disarray. Those charged with protecting Louisoix, like me, could only watch the carnage from afar. And though our forces managed to hold out, thanks to the adventurer contingent, we sustained grievous casualties. But the real tragedy was what followed. As Dalamud hurtled towards us, it began shedding fragments of itself before finally bursting open to unleash the primal Bahamut. As all below looked on in shock, the battle completely forgotten, Bahamut took wind and spewed fire all over the land. Men in Magitech armor alike were set ablaze and sent flying like so many insects. I only realized that I had stopped breathing when a commanding voice broke my trance. "You've done enough," Louisoix told us. "Now fly! Fly and save yourselves." But like my fellow guards, I wanted to remain. I couldn't charge into battle beside my comrades. At the very least, I would do my duty here and protect Louisoix to the last. But upon seeing us standing there, not making to move, Louisoix smiled, spoke thus: "If you would give your lives to protect something, then protect my hopes. Every soul who lives to determine their own fate is a source of hope, bright and brilliant. So live, I bid you, and be among those who bear the light for others to follow." Those words awakened us to a greater purpose. If there was hope in my living, then I would live as Louisoix bid. No matter what, I would survive. And so, together with my fellows, I began making my retreat. Alas, we hadn't gotten far when an explosion erupted and sent us sprawling. I struggled to my feet, just in time to see the enormous, menacing silhouette of Bahamut looming over Louisoix. In the next instant, he had enveloped in light. That was the last I saw him. Louisoix's final moment. Amidst that light, he looked to be smiling. What he was thinking in that moment, I couldn't say. But one thing is certain. We all of us are alive thanks to him. Following the calamity, it was reported that Louisoix had defeated Bahamut and set about the land's miraculous regeneration. Do you believe this is the truth? Every soul who lives to determine their own fate is a source of hope. What we've learned has reaffirmed my belief, Artemis. The belief that Louisoix was not an all-powerful savior one reads about in tales, but merely an ordinary man. But that man never forsook Eorzea. No, he stood for this realm to the last. He and countless other brave souls. and saved it from becoming a scorched waste. Against unimaginable adversity he fought, and at the cost of his life, paved the way to a brighter future for us all. The least I can do in return is tell his story, spread his message that where there is life, there is hope. This is true. Thanks to your account, I believe I've found an angle for the biography. I'm truly grateful. Would you care to offer a prayer as well? The prayer that the light of hope which Louis Soir preserved shall ever burn bright? Now we're supposed to talk to Nananji again. Allow me to thank you again for recounting your experiences to us. Nay, 'tis I who owes you thanks for giving me the chance to share Louis Soir's words. All these years I had avoided speaking of the moment of his passing out of respect, but it would not do to take the tale to my grave. Through the biography, it is my hope that his spirit will live on in all of us. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I shall resume my pilgrimage to the marks. Wherever your travels take you, I shall be praying for your safety. And you, Namia lilies, the symbol of safe passage. As Louis Soir stood there in Carteneau, I wonder if he likewise prayed for someone's safety. At any rate, these interviews have yielded everything I had hoped for and more. Come, let's return to Ul'dah. I'll have your reward for you at Ul'dah at the Hall of Flames. Pop open the thing, and we will jump back over to Thanalin. And jump to Ul'dah, Steps of Nald. That will take us to the main Aetheryte, right next to the Hall of Flames. And here we are at the Ul'dah Aetheryte Plaza. We will come back up the steps here. And there's Nananji right there. We'll come over here and get a clear thing here. What's up, Nananji? There you are. I ended up troubling you longer than I had intended, but it was a truly fruitful series of interviews. How fortunate that we could hear from those who lived that fateful time. While I still have many questions, the biography is beginning to take shape in my mind. I also feel as though I've attained a measure of closure. Louis Soir fought simply as one of us, and he made the ultimate sacrifice that hope might endure. This I've come to realize and appreciate thanks to everyone's heartfelt testimonies. Now then, last but not least, I'd like to ask you for your thoughts on something. According to Orn, Louis Soir smiled in his final moment. As he was enveloped in light, what do we imagine he held in his mind? What will you say? The image of mankind thriving in the future? Or it's pointless to speculate on such things? Now, depending on your beliefs, how you feel, and all that, you can pick either one. I'm not sure what each would say, depending on, if one's different than the other, or what you would see right here. But given what kind of leader he was, what he was fighting for, and his final words, so to speak, then I would say the image of mankind thriving in the future. Because he was sending everyone 5 years into the future with that spell. So he knew if it worked, that 5 years would have gone by, and they would be trying to make a life after everything was done. And if it worked, the world would be recreated and be thriving and going again for what needed to happen. So let's say the image of mankind. I see. I appreciate your thoughts. As I pen the biography, I'll be certain to remember your words. Well, sad though it is, it's time for us to part ways. I'll set to work on a draft, and I won't rest until the biography goes to print. Thank you for all your help, my friend. I couldn't have come this far without you. And that finishes that quest. Preserve in the future, it is a level 50 quest. We get 12,675 experience, 827 gil, and we get the framer's kit for our portraits and everything. So we will complete that. Quest complete. The Nanji walks off to go about his life, and we get the achievement, the man, the myth, the legend. We come over here, and we will use the framer's kit to unlock that. And I forget exactly where it is. Of course, character. Okay, let's go portrait. Of course, my portrait's just routine right now because I haven't done anything with it. Well, let's edit the portrait. There is a preset here. Let's click the preset and let's find that. End of an era. It gives an effect here with the blinding light and kind of peachy or rainbow over here. I imagine if you zoomed it out, it would look like you were walking off into a blinding light, as he was. So you would have the explosion going off and a blinding light in the center, and then that would be it. So I won't keep that right now. I will go back and play with it later. And I will go in here and look at the adventure plate. And unfortunately, I have not even created one yet on this character. So let's just play with it a little bit and see what it looks like here. End of an era. Very nice. Check out advanced settings. Okay, very nice, very nice. You have the Phoenix over here to show the rising Phoenix. Nice background. Background, what is it? End of an era. It's the circle with the symbols of the 12 on it. Very nice. Very nice, because there's the spinner symbol right there. Okay. And then you have the phoenix feather on each side. And you have Nemea lilies in the corner. Very nice. Yep, accent lilies. Portrait frame, phoenix feathers. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. I do like that. That is quite nice. I may have to go back and play with that a little bit. I know on my board, for my main character that I did this on already, I did change the lilies to the music notes, but I kept it the same otherwise. So, because I am a bard, so I wanted the music notes sitting there coming off of it. So, I hope you enjoyed this quest. If you have, toss me a like. And be sure to look for more stuff when I put more out. If you haven't already seen it, I do have 2 other videos that we did already. One for the Rising event itself for the quest chain, and one for the letter forest, where we read the letters that were in the forest from the team. So this has been SF Lady Wolf and my little friend Artemis here. Have her wave goodbye and walk in the light of the crystal as always. And we will see you in the next video. Do have fun. Bye-bye.